Parivrajacharya Ashtottara Shata Shishima A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Padamahamsa Parivrajacharya Ashtottara Shata Shishima Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se Gaur Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Sham Kun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Ki Jai. Navadvitam Ki Jai. Mathura Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Guruvaya Ki Jai. Brahmavaya Ki Jai. Samveta Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. All glories to the Son devotees. All glories to the Son devotees. All glories to the Son devotees. All glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Namaste Narasimhaya. Yato yato yamita to nishintha. Bahir Nrsimho Hridaye Nrsimho. Narasimhamade Sharanam Prapadye. Abhagara Kamalavare Naka Abhuta Shringa Hiranyakashipu Tanuvringa Keshavadrita Ranirupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare. Abhuta Shringa Lalita Hiranyakashipu Tanuvringa Keshavadrita Ranirupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare. Lord Nrsimhadev Ki Jai. Love Maharaj Ki Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Ah!
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. How are you, Prabhu?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm about to. You're off work?
Yeah, no, just came home.
Oh, okay. Well, get ready for a good class. We're gonna have one right now.
Yes, Prabhu. Excited.
Okay. I'll talk to you after the class.
Sure, sure. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.
Alrighty. Bhagavad Gita class. Start with introduction prayer, page 1. Amajanya Tramadasya Jnana Jnana Shalakya Sakumitam Yanatasme Shugarave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Monobishtam Shapitam Yana Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kara Mahayam Darati Swapadatikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Guna Vaishnav Sacha Shri Rupa Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunat Navitam Tasajevam Savetam Sadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishkaskana Vitamascha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dino Bando Jakapate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namosute Tapa Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavasvare Vishvanu Sute Devi Pranamame Hare Priye Pancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaya Evascha Patitanam Pavane Bayo Vaishnave Bayo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Aveta Gadhar Shri Vasti Gaur Bhaktinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Here we left off in chapter 5. Starting at verse 29 today, the last chapter, or the last verse of the chapter. Verse 29. Chapter 5, Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness. Oktaram Yagya Tapasham Sarvaloka Mahishvaram Sudaram Sarva Bhutanam Gatva Masatim Richati. Translation. The sages, knowing me as the ultimate purpose of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attain peace from the pangs of material miseries. Chapter 6. Text 1 is Chapter 6 of Sankhya Yoga. Text 1. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha Anashrita Karma Palam Karyam Karma Karatiya Sanasyasi Cha Yogi Cha Na Riganir Na Chakriya. Translation. The Blessed Lord said, one who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated is in the renounced order of life. And he is a true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no work. Text 2. Yam samyasyam iti paru yogam tam vidi panava nahi asya yatsate sankalpo yogi bhavati kashatna. Translation. What is called renunciation is the same as yoga, or linking oneself with the Supreme. For no one can become a yogi unless he renounces the desire for sense gratification. Text 3. Arupkushor munum yogam karma karanam uyache yoga rudasya tashyaiva sama karmana uchayate. Translation. For one who is a neophyte in the eightfold yoga system, work is said to be the means, and for one who is steady, attained to yoga, cessation of all material activity is said to be the means. Text 4. Yada hi nidrayateshu na kamashu anusvajyate sarva sankalpa sannyasi yogarudas taryache. Translation. A person is said to have attained to yoga when, having renounced all material desires, neither acts for sense gratification nor engages in fruitive activities. Text 5. Urare atmanam natmanam avashadayat Atmaiva hi atmano pandir atmaiva ripu atmana. Translation. A man must elevate himself by his own mind, not grade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. Text 6. Pandir atmat manastasya yenat maivat manajita Anatmanastu satrutve vate tatmaiva satrutvat. Translation. For him who has conquered the mind is the best of friends, but for one who has failed to do so, his very mind will be the greatest enemy. Text 7. Jitatmana prashantasya paramatta samahita shitoshna shuka dukashu tatta manapapanamyahu. Translation. For one who has conquered the mind, the supersoul is already reached, for he has attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. Text 8. Yana vidyana triptapma kutashto iti tindriya yukta iti uchatyate yogi lostrasma kanchana. Translation. A person is said to be established in self-realization is called a yogi or mystic when he is fully satisfied by virtue or acquired knowledge and realization. Such a person is situated in transcendence and is self-controlled. He sees everything, whether it be pebbles, stones, or gold, as the same. Text 9. Suran mitari udashina Madhyashta Devasya Padusho Sadhusha Api Cha Papeshu Samabhudir Vishiyate. Translation. A person is said to be still further advanced when he regards all, the honest, well-wisher, friends and enemies, envious and the pious, the sinner and those who are indifferent and impartial with an equal mind. Text 10. Yogi yujita satamam atmanam rahashi shihita ikakiyata chitatma nirashir aparigraha. Translation. Transcendentalist should always try to concentrate his mind on the Supreme Self. He should live only in a secluded place and should always carefully control his mind. He should be free from desires and feelings of possessiveness. We're returning to text. We're going to return to text 1 in this chapter. Sankhya Yoga. Translation. The Blessed Lord said, one who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated is in the renounced order of life. And he is a true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no work. Purport. In this chapter, the Lord explains that the process of the Eightfold Yoga System is a means to control the mind and the senses. However, this is very difficult for people in general to perform, especially in the age of Kali. Although the Eightfold Yoga System is recommended in this chapter, the Lord emphasizes that the process of Karma Yoga, or acting Krishna consciousness, is better. Everyone acts in this world to maintain his family and their paraphernalia. But no one is working without some self-interest, some personal gratification, be it concentrated or extended. The criterion or perfection is to act in Krishna consciousness and not with a view to enjoy the fruits of work. To act in Krishna consciousness is a duty of every living entity because all are constitutionally parts and parcels of the Supreme. The parts of the body work for the satisfaction of the whole. Satisfaction of the whole body. The limbs of the body do not act for self-satisfaction, but for the satisfaction of the complete whole. Similarly, the living entity who acts for satisfaction of the supreme whole and not for personal satisfaction is a perfect sannyasi, or the perfect yogi. The sannyasi sometimes artificially think that they have become liberated from all material duties, and therefore they cease to perform Agnihotra yagyas, fire sacrifices. But actually they are self-interested because their goal is becoming one with the impersonal Brahma. Such desires are greater than any material desire, but is not without self-interest. Similarly, the mystic yogi who practices a yoga system with half-open eyes ceases all material activities, desires some satisfaction for his personal self. But a person acting in Krishna consciousness works for the satisfaction of the whole, without self-interest. A Krishna-conscious person has no desire for self-satisfaction. His criterion of success is the satisfaction of Krishna. And thus, he is the perfect sannyasi, or perfect yogi. Lord Chaitanya, the highest perfectional symbol of renunciation, prays in this way. Na danam dahanam, na janam, na sudaram, kavitam va jagadisha, kamaye, mama jamani, jamaneshvare, bhavatad, bhaktir arituki twaya. Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor to enjoy beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. What I want only is the causeless mercy of your devotional service in my life, birth after birth. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare. Hare Rama, Rama, Hare. Yeah, in this chapter, it's talking about how the Eightfold Yoga system is recommended. But in this age of Kali, it's not the best way to get there. In fact, it's probably one of the hardest ways to get there. In this age, we don't have that much time to, perfect the eightfold yoga system. We have very little time. And plus, going out and finding a secluded place to do all this is even harder in this day and age. Because in this day and age, this is a age of Kali. We have so many difficulties, so much miseries in this age. It's finding a secluded place in the first place, man, that can take some effort. There's times in my life that I went out looking for secluded places out in Colorado, down in Arizona, places out in Alaska. There was always difficulty in it. There were always challenges behind it. Because once you found the secluded place, and how long can you stay there? You have to think about, things like, source of water, food, shelter. All these things takes time and effort, It's very hard to live in this day and age, in the age of Kali, just in a loincloth and living out in the elements like some of these, advanced yogis, especially here in America with the extreme winter, with extreme temperature differences from season to season. But even let's say you get everything in place. Let's say you're able to haul enough water out to where you're going to meditate at, practicing the Eightfold Mystic Yoga system, and have enough food on hand, and shelter. Then you also have to worry about the wild animals. Because, when you have food, that attracts animals. Things like bears, wolves, and foxes, coyotes, all kinds of animals. So it's not recommended. It's what is it right here? The blessed Lord said, "One who is unattached to the fruits of his work, and who works as he is obligated, is in the renounced order of life, and he is the true mystic, not the one who lights no fire and performs no work." That's kind of hard to get through in this day and age without, performing any work whatsoever. I mean, even the hobos, the homeless people out here in the U.S., they still have to go out day after day, make a sign and, sit on the street corners. We'll work for food. God bless. Sometimes they got to sit out there in the heat. Sometimes out in the cold. Sometimes out in the rain. That's a form of work. Waiting for the handouts and donations. It's really hard to get by without performing some sort of work. The body's meant to move about. Body's meant to do work. One cannot sit in one place for very long without all these distractions coming up. How long can you sit in one place for? Not long. Like I said, it's very hard in this age of Kali, with our concentration shortened, our intelligence shortened, our lifespan shortened. It's not like in the previous ages where, with much less karma, we had, much better genetics, where we had much longer lifespans. You go by without water for much longer periods of time. Go without food for much longer periods of time. Was able to concentrate for much longer periods of time. We don't have thousands of years to perfect our yoga system. We have less than 100. Most people have less than 100 years. Most people have less than 80 years. Some people don't even make it to the age of 20. Time flies so fast in this age of Kali. The Krishna consciousness, Bhakti Yoga. This is what's recommended in the age of Kali. And Krishna consciousness, Bhakti Yoga, it's not about just surrendering one day and not performing any work. Oh, it's this whole system is designed for lots of work, for lots of service. In fact, once you acquire the taste, you try to find ways to increase the service and do more and more and more. Because the taste is so good. The nectar is so sweet. You're trying to figure out how you get more of this nectar. Because the more you increase your service and the more that you're getting purified, the sweeter this nectar is getting. It becomes so sweet. Eventually you find you challenging yourself. Can I get through the day with less sleep? Can I do more service with less sleep? Maybe I'll skip breakfast. Be able to get a little more service in, get a little more reading in. You find yourself challenging yourself many times. But in Bhakti Yoga, a lot of this service, we're trying to reach out and try to find these other surrendered souls that are ready to surrender in this life. They have been through millions of births, are just tired of chasing this so-called happiness in this world. Just tired of working for it because it's unfulfilling, unsatisfying. Just as soon as you catch that bit of happiness, poof, it's gone. You gotta start all over again. Oh, gosh. Start all over and try to catch that happiness again. Poof, it's gone. Jeez. It's a depreciating return. You can't just like find one thing that brings you happiness and keep it. Because that one thing that brings you happiness, it depreciates over time. You just find gives you less and less happiness, less and less joy, and finally, till there's none at all, until you finally end up hating it. You take your favorite song out there, this favorite material song, and listen to it over and over and over again. First time you listen to it, yeah, great, yeah, it brings you a little bit of joy, a little bit of happiness. But by the 1,000th or 1,000,000th time you've listened to it, oh gosh, that song again? I need something different. Same thing with, your favorite food. Your favorite food could bring you some joy, some happiness. But it's a depreciating return in this material world. You can only have it so many times before you're like, oh, this again? I need something different. Same thing with movies, same thing with books, same thing with video games. Without anything in this material world that brings you a little bit of happiness, it's a depreciating return because it's eventually not going to bring you happiness anymore. So many people find this out with drugs and alcohol. They find a drug that they really love. Say like marijuana. Oh yeah, marijuana's great. I remember back in the day when I used to smoke so much marijuana. Started out with one joint. It's like, man, this is great. I want more of this. I like being high. It's so wonderful. But over time, you realize you start having to smoke more and more of it because it's a depreciating return. Smoke more and more of it, to try to get to the same high. And it's just, the high is just not the same over time. And eventually you're just smoking for the sake of smoking. You get a little bit of a high, and it kind of goes away after a little while. And then you find yourself, it's where you're hating it when you're out of it. Oh, it's so terrible when you have a dry spell. And then you're really wanting it again. So it's, it's the same thing with all drugs out there. Alcohol, too. It's really good at first, but over time, it becomes more of a poison in the end. Something that you really resent, you really hate, and you really can't figure out why you can't do without it, because you could just wish you could do without it now. But now you're hooked on it. Much like that is the material world. All these sense gratifications. Doesn't matter what it is. You get hooked on our sense gratifications in this world. You get to a point you just don't know how you're going to do without it. Because you're so used to living with it, so attached to it. I'm sure there's plenty of people that look at us like, how in the world can they live like that? Just coming, showing up in a couple sheets and singing all day. Banging cartels together. Why do they do that? Don't they have a TV at home? Don't they have entertainment somewhere? I'm pretty sure we get a lot of people thinking that. It's like, man, I'm glad I'm not doing that. I go home and watch TV and listen to my radio. But Bhakti Yoga is a complete opposite of the material world. Whereas these material senses, these material indulgences, brings you a little bit of happiness up front. And over time, it becomes a poison. It becomes very bitter. Bhakti Yoga is the opposite. At first, Bhakti Yoga can be very bitter. It can almost seem like a poison at first. To where, you're just like, man, I gotta get through this. Your mind's trying to take you away from the devotional service, from Bhakti Yoga all the time. So he's thinking, boy, I would much rather be, browsing the internet. I'd much rather be, watching my favorite television show. I'd much rather be doing something else than right here and trying to serve Krishna, trying to serve God, trying to, singing to the deities, singing kirtan, performing service. Many times your mind is just rebelling and trying to drive you away from service and trying to drive you away from bhakti yoga. Because it's not used to it. It's used to that quick bit of happiness that you catch and poof, it's gone. You have to go over it over and over and over again to get that happiness back. And many schemes and many different ways for that little bit of moment of happiness. Poof, it's gone. Poof, it's gone. Poof, it's gone. Like I say, in Bhakti Yoga, it's the complete opposite. Over time, you can stick with your sadhana and stay determined. Follow the instructions of your spiritual master. Doing your 16 rounds a day. Showing up for arti. Getting lost in your service. Over time, that bitterness goes away. And one day you find yourself beginning to enjoy the arti, beginning to enjoy the kirtan, beginning to enjoy the service. And you begin to want more and more of it. And you realize, oh man, this nectar is so sweet. It's just increasing too. And it's not going away. It's not like I'm just having this, sensation for a few minutes and poof, it's gone. It sticks with you, that it's fulfilling, it's not empty. And you realize how important it is to, tell other people about this. How important it is to get out there and look for other people who are ready to surrender. Who are just wanting to know how to surrender, wanting to find the pathway to surrender, wanting to know how to also taste this nectar. It becomes very important. So we always got to remember, keep our sadhana strong. Keep our head down and stay determined. Get through the bitterness. Get through that long dark night. That can seem to be sometimes takes forever to get to that nectar. But once the nectar's there, once you start tasting it, once it begins to grow within you, you find it was all worth the while. And you want nothing more than to increase it each and every day. And it's like, it's like back in the day when you played video games. I used to play a lot of video games back when I was younger. Sometimes I'd be up, a couple days trying to defeat one game. Or get through this hard, difficult level, not sleep at all, but, eat very little and try to get through that game, persevere through, sleepiness. That's the same thing with devotional service. You find yourself wanting to persevere through because you're so in tune to it. Any questions or comments so far? Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Whoa. That's way up there.
Hare Krishna. Turn it up a little more. Hare Krishna. Jamavati Sutta, thank you for the nice class, Prabhu. I have a comment and a question. So, my comment is about what you were talking about when we feel this bitterness when we start devotional service. And I was reflecting on a time when I was in the Bhakta program, and this was when I first started the Bhakta program, and there was a couple living here, and they were both brand new to Krishna consciousness as well. One was a Bhaktin and one was a Bhakta. And one day we were having prasadam, lunch prasadam, and this Bhakta that I was doing the program with, he said something really interesting, and it's stuck with me ever since. But he said, "Yeah, man, like I'm just trying to make it to the next Sunday feast," you know. And I thought to myself at that moment, I was like, "Wow, that's interesting, because I'm just trying to make it to the next meal, next time we eat on a prasadam." So I thought it was interesting because it's very universal. This whole idea of the bitterness in devotional service, but it does turn very sweet after a while. You need a little intelligence, but it does turn sweet. And then my question is about this quitting material things. Why does it feel impossible to do that? To quit material things?
Well, we're so addicted to material things. We're so it's an addiction. A lot of it, we're attached to it because of karma, because of past karmic action. You got to realize, your past karma a lot of times dictates what you're going to desire in the future. So if you performed enough karmic action that say that in this lifetime you're desiring, like, let's say, alcohol because of past karmic actions, that can be a hard addiction to get through, because karma's dictating, oh no, we're paying you out. You've acquired the body to enjoy this alcohol this lifetime. You've seen those types out there that can, open up a bottle of vodka and drink it down like water, and still go out and, perform their day. But, it's depends on, a lot depends on the karma that we have. That's why I say that many times we are powerless when it comes to our sense gratification. We are powerless to our addictions because of karma. That's where we have to, put our head down and do our best to perform devotional service, to get through our rounds, to follow the instructions of the spiritual master, and beg Krishna every day. Oh, please, Krishna, please increase my desire for you. I want my desire for you to be greater than all my material desires. Oh, please, Krishna, increase my desire for you. You gotta beg Krishna. You gotta beg him every day to increase your desire for him. Krishna knows your desires. He knows what you want, but he also wants that relationship with you. He wants you to reach out to him. He wants you to tell him, Krishna, please, I want this. I don't want these material desires anymore. I want you. Krishna has given us so many ways to have a relationship with him. So many ways. Many examples. Having Krishna as a friend, having Krishna as your Lord and you're being his servant, having Krishna as a parent, having Krishna as your child, having Krishna as your lover, even having Krishna as your enemy. We have examples of that from Srimad Bhagavatam. Demons who were liberated because they could not keep their mind off Krishna. They hated Krishna so much that in the end, when Krishna came and killed them, they were liberated. So even if you're mad at Krishna, you should tell Krishna you're mad at him. Because he already knows you're mad at him when you're mad at him. He just wants that relationship with you. The more that we surrender and give ourselves to Krishna, the more that he is surrendering and giving himself to us. The more that we are binding ourselves with ropes of love around Krishna and binding ourselves to him. Well, the only way to do that is to give up sense gratification one step at a time. It's not like an overnight process. It's not like, I'm just going to give up all my sense gratifications right here now and not enjoy a single bit anymore. No, it's nothing like that. It'd be great if it was that way. It'd be great if it was that easy. But it's a process. In this age of Kali, it can be a very difficult process. But Bhakti Yoga, devotional service, is the best way to get through that. Surrendering to God, surrendering to Krishna is the best way to get through that, best way to get over addictions. Even in Alcohol Anonymous, people go to try to free themselves of alcohol addiction and drug addiction. Their first step is acknowledging that they are powerless to their addiction and accepting a higher power. The very first step. Which consequently, it's the very first step in Bhakti Yoga. Realizing that we are powerless without Krishna. And we surrender to him. So yes, sense gratification, giving up material senses, giving up material desires, giving up all these material things, they are an addiction in this material world. That's why it's so hard to give them up. Does that help answer your question, Prabhu? Yes. We still got a little bit of time. Okay.
Okay, so on this point about praying to Krishna to, what is it? Please engage me in your service?
Well, praying to Krishna about increasing your desire for him.
Okay, yeah. So that's a good... I have a doubt about this because Prabhupada says in the purport in the Bhagavad Gita that a devotee never prays to Krishna for his maintenance. But he goes on to say that praying to Krishna is better than praying to someone else or not praying at all. Mm-hmm. So, I personally have experience where Krishna has purposely not given me something that I wanted. But and then when I pray to him, nothing happens, So like what, and plus, Prabhupada would say all the time, you shouldn't pray to Krishna for something that you want. You should pray.
Well, I think what Prabhupada was more relating to is not praying to Krishna for material things that you want. I mean, when we pray when we chant the Maha Mantra, what are we praying for? Yes, put us in his service. So these things that we're praying for, it's to bring us closer to Krishna. Does Maharaj have a comment? Oh, okay. Let's find a microphone here.
Okay, Rapugna Prabhu, if that's you, then we're ready for you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Prabhu. It's a really amazing class, and it's a really enlightened and realized class. Seriously. Prabhu, I just I don't have a question, but I'll put one comment here. Like Prabhu said regarding we have to plead to Krishna because we have so many anarthas inside. So that is like I'm just doubting one verse from Shrimad Bhagavatam, which I just gone through several days back, and I that verse really struck me, and it comes up at this moment. It's like 329:10 about pure devotion, and Lord Kapila tells his mother that pure devotees are not interested in material benefit but only in serving the Lord, making them highly receptive to mercy. And further it says that the sincere heart, it is not ritual or high status, but a humble heart that's sincere and eager for mercy, that is essential. So like if the pleading heart, if we are in very much distress and very much in a way of like we lost ourselves in situation, and that time if you ask Krishna, and that way Krishna much more reciprocate, much more connected with you. So yeah, that's the main like thing I wanted to tell. And another thing, as Prabhu said, that we have like we have to only desire for Krishna's service. The desire is very much important. And even Bhagavad Gita says this, like dhyayato vishyan punsha, like sangas se supajayate, sangat sanjayate kama, kama krodho bijayate. So that verse also says like whatever you contemplating on the sense objects, it will leads to the further like motivates it will enhance and like sprout the karma. And that's why Narottam Das Tagore says whatever karma you have, you just desire for Krishna's service, and it will be purified. Whatever the lust we have, that will be purified when we dotal to Krishna's service. So very wonderful, Prabhu, very wonderful. Thank you so much. And that the realization you have regarding this, like whatever we can say, the various bad habits in a material world. Actually, I also suffered previously so many bad habits, and literally I begged to Krishna that please, I'm not able to come out of this. Please help me to just give up and give your mercy, give your taste for that. And yeah, and taste for Harinam. And definitely this taste for Harinam is highest. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, thank you for comments. I think that's our time for today. Bhagavad Gita ki jai! Come on, my dear brother!